Good morning and welcome to Targeted Parent Speaks Out. Tamara Gerstemeyer Sweeney, and this is going to be a coffee talk session. Video number two. So where we left off on the last video, first of all, I want to apologize. I kept mixing my ex with my husband, so hopefully you can figure that out. It was my husband during that whole time period. I'm just used to calling him my ex or the father of my children. Anyway, in part 2 of this video, I basically want to go over signs of parent alienation. Because what I went through, I pray that nobody else goes through this. But this is a sign, and somehow you got to get it out of the court system. You got to get to a doctor that actually is an expert in parent alienation to get this to stop. And unfortunately, sometimes you have to get the court to intervene. But I think where I left off was how my husband did this was after I told him about the affair, he went around and did a hate campaign against me. He pitted my family against me, my own parents, my own brother. He hired my brother. And this is a man who used to bash my brother for years. Said how he never liked him. He had ego issues. But then again, he hires them. So keeping your, enemies closer is his theory. I don't know. But the gaslighting started, which he brought in a psychic. And gaslighting, what that means is he did a lot of crazy things around the house to make me think that I'm crazy. So he hired a psychic from Stone Harbor, New Jersey. I allowed her into my house because I believed that she was a good person. I know that sounds nuts, but she got my children to go to church with me without fighting me. My kids started reading the Bible. I was like, what's going on here? I've been trying to do this for years, and this woman comes in as an outsider. I'm like, sure, I'll keep her in if she's, going to help me out that way. But how he built this hate campaign was he pitted all my friends, my neighbors, and my family against me. Not all my neighbors, but 5 families in that neighborhood. He either is employing them or they're just, as everyone else says, drinking the jungle juice of my husband. So it was the gaslighting. He tried to get me into a mental home. I had 5 therapists. All of them had the same pattern, the same routine. And it was always, I had a problem with the kids. Not Tom, not my husband. It was always me. But my husband never complained of my parenting while he was away for 6 weeks. Never once until I filed and I asked for a divorce did he ever say I was a bad mom. I mean, to other people, he would write me letters saying I'm a great mom. He's proud that, I raised the kids. But the minute, I asked for a divorce, everything went whoosh, downhill. So after the mental evaluations, these therapists are telling my children to stay away from me, that I'm crazy. The therapists are telling me to move on with my life. Forget about my kids. And I'll never forget looking into that doctor's eyes going, you have children and you just said that to me? I don't get it. I actually had another therapist said, and this was to my 12-year-old daughter, until you respect your kids, then they'll respect you. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I was raised the way where, you look up to your elders, you look up to your coaches, you look up to the wiser. So we had the gaslighting. We had, him trying to say I was mental and put me in a mental home. Then he tries to frame me with drugs. He actually, we had filing cabinets, 2 filing cabinets in our house. You could literally walk up to them and go bang and hit them and they would like open up. But my husband calls a locksmith and makes a huge ordeal about it. So he calls the locksmith, calls my parents out to the house, and he has my 2 children there, my 2 older boys. And I find this out years later. So he allows the locksmith to go ahead and break in. You could have gotten a paperclip or something to break in. He breaks in, and all of a sudden there's cocaine in the cabinets. And that's how he got my parents involved. That's how he got my kids on their side. He's saying, oh, Mom's doing drugs. Mom's a party animal. She's out of control. So to a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old, you're hearing that from psychologists. You're now, your dad's showing you that your mother's doing drugs, and you have the grandparents against their own daughter and a brother against your own daughter. I mean, my kids, they had no choice but to believe my husband. So, after the drugs, what was it? It was just, I was a bad mom. I was a danger to Mom. Even though I hadn't seen my kids in 2 years, I was a danger to my children. My children claimed that every day they woke up to me saying I hated them. Every day I said I hated them. And I was a terror in the house. I terrorized my children. But I have documentation. I have videos. I used to write little notes in their lunch boxes, encouragement notes and, XXOO Mom, like stuff like that. Every day my kids used to scream at me saying, don't do that, you're embarrassing me, which I get. But they say one thing and another, and they're contradictory, and it's not making sense. But my kids only believe whatever their father told them. And you could tell my kids, I cut their arm off with a chainsaw, sewed it back together, and they'd say, yep, I believe it. I remember it. I lived it. That's what my kids do. So this campaign goes on. I'm all alone. I have no one to trust except for my high school girlfriends, my cousin, and it's devastating. I felt like I was threatened, thrown out of my house. I ended up leaving because I was scared. I had bad advice from a lawyer. He told me to leave, which ended up ruining my custody. But he said sanity and safety was more important, which is true. So I left. I had my car and a bag, and that was it. And there was nights that I actually slept in my car. I had nowhere to go, but you survive. So from there, those years were mentally abusive. I don't wish it upon anyone. But deep down inside me, I knew I was a good person. I just had the man that I married, that I loved, just cut me out of the kids' lives. I went from being a full-time mom, a full-time worker, to someone who's living out of a car and trying to keep my head above water, and now I got to pay these lawyers, and they want me to pay, therapy. They want me to pay 50% of the for therapy, and then they want me to pay for a forensic accountant. I had what do you call them? Private detectives. I mean, it was insane. Absolutely insane. And a lot of this I'm going to go over in the book. So I'm not going to bore you with a ton of details. Just remember that, you know, when someone's putting you down or they're gaslighting you, get out of that situation right away. Get out. It's so unhealthy. Then the abuse of just being beat down constantly, that you're a bad person, when all I did was love my children. I didn't think this was going to be hard. All right, coffee break. So during this whole hate campaign, I find out that my husband didn't pay our taxes. And he basically forged my name to power of attorney. This is called a 2848. He signs my name. Forges my name. To find out years later, it benefited him. But in the court system, he admits the forgery, says he did it in my best interest. But in reality, he's killed me. I can never have a house. I can never own a car. He's destroyed my credit. All the houses we purchased, here's one. This was my house in Connecticut. Beautiful home. I had beautiful friends there. And no one even knew who he was. House was in my name. The house was in my name in Pennsylvania too. Now here's the story. 2000, I think it was 2000 we came here. 2000, yeah, in 2000. So everything's in my name. Everything. The house, the mortgage, everything. 4 years into this house, I'll never forget it. My husband comes up to me. He's like, listen, we need to refinance. Can you sign this document? He hands me a document. I'm holding, you know, my child. I'm not even thinking. I'm trusting my husband. I'm like, sure, we need to refinance. Whatever, I'll sign it. Stupid me. I signed over the house for him to be put on the deed. I didn't know this until I filed divorce. So, you know, Tom claims he's so upset about the infidelity, but way back in 2004, he was already plotting and planning and lying and manipulating. So, and there's a lot more I haven't told you, but this is one clincher. So my name is still on the mortgage, and now we're both on the deed. So the past, you know, in a normal divorce, whoever has the house, they usually, you know, figure it out. You know, buy the other partner out during a divorce. Not my case. My husband got the house, got all the children, everything in the house. I don't even, you know, all my things are in there. All my parents' things, all my ancestors' stuff. It's all in the house. He got everything. And I don't even get a buyout. I don't even get equitable distribution. It's how they did, well, actually, I'm going to put it in the book. But actually how they did my divorce is not what they do in a normal divorce. Basically what they said was, after my last son graduates, we'll give you 65% of the house when it sells. whatever the value is at that time. The value is now about $660,000. They told me whatever we sell that house for, I get 65% in equitable distribution, but because I lived a luxury lifestyle with Mr. Tom Sweeney, that I have to give that back to the penalties of him not paying taxes. So I have to pay for his personal business and income taxes that he purposely didn't pay, and I knew nothing about. That was a good one. So let's see. Gaslighting. He tried to frame me or put me in a mental home. He tried to frame me with drugs. Tarnishes my name, humiliates me, says I'm a bad mom, I'm an unfit mother, I'm a danger to my kids. And then this goes all the way through the court system. I ended up having, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 lawyers, 5 therapists, multiple forensic accountants, multiple private eyes. I can't even tell you how much money I spent into this divorce. I basically have nothing, but I'm putting it out there because I know I won't be able to help my own children because they're of age, but I'm hoping one day they will see how much I love them and what lengths I went to try to save them, because I lived with that man for 20 years. It took me 20 years to figure out who he was. Someone that lies your whole life. I mean, that was a hard thing to swallow. Very hard. I didn't know who I married, but I also married his mother. One of my therapists, who was looking through the paperwork and all the threats and all the emails that I had received, which I will put on Facebook, had told me, your husband has some childhood trauma that he has not gotten over yet, and you are being blamed for it. And there's a part of me that believes that, because I found, this is what my own husband and brother-in-law told me, that when they were in high school, their mother apparently had an affair with another teacher, and they walked in on her. Whether it's true or not, I don't know the whole story, but if it is true, now I get why he's so angry at me. I mean, it's like he's taking it out on me. Here's another thing I never really understood, because he blames the affair on everything. And this has been going on really since 2010, but 2012 in the court system. His mother has been with a married man for probably 23, 25 years now. And apparently this guy's other wife knows about it, and everyone's okay with it. I'm fine with it. If that's, I have no problems with it, but my children accept it. Tom accepts it, but they judge and they damn me and kick me out of their life. The one thing they kept saying is, you make a mistake once, not over and over and over again. But his mom's been with this person for 23, 25 years. I'm not crucifying her by any means. If they're happy and both sides know about it, it's fine, whatever. That's none of my business. But why are my children disrespecting me to the point that they would kill me. To the point of, in the house, they had my picture upside down, or, you know, a pencil poked through the, you know, my face, or, you know, every time I'd come in, they'd throw my stuff out the door. I mean, the disrespect is unbelievable. I used to go to the front door to get my children, or to get one, and my ex would slam the door on my face, right in front of my children. Now that's a learned behavior. So now my kids do that to me. They would just slam the door on my face. And there is so many sick and vile things that this man has taught my children. I don't even know if I can put it live. But if I get the approval, I am. Because I'm not embarrassed anymore. I'm going to tell the story how it is. And I hope I have a lot of people following me. And that their stories come out too. Because parent alienation has to stop. This court corruption has to stop. Stop giving the money to the judges. Because they're as dirty as they can be. And just because they wear a robe, and just because their name is honorable, doesn't mean they're honorable. By any means. Anyway, I hope I don't sound angry. I hope I don't sound hateful. All I'm trying to do is get the truth out there. Hopefully, to reconnect other children with their parents. Because it's not always one side of the story is right. So there's always two sides to the story. And the truth lies somewhere in between. But I hope if there's any children out there listening to this, that they'll reach out to that parent. If there's any grandparents or parents or adults that were alienated from a parent, to go back and reach out to that parent, because I guarantee you that parent is waiting with open arms for you to come back. All right. Until next time. I'm not sure if I'll do coffee talk, pillow talk, or what. But thanks for listening. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.